New England, more snow through tomorrow night before clearing out of here. But a wide-reaching, very impactful system, severe weather on the south, wintry weather on the north side.
Snow in the Midwest is not all bad news. It means that finally snowmobile trails are open in places like Wisconsin, coming just in time for many businesses. Eric Peterson has a story just outside of Green Bay.
There are about 480 miles of trails in Oconto County. Enough snow fell to open the northern part at the end of December. After rain closed them down, snow returned, and those same trails reopened on January 11th. Many routes go near taverns and restaurants like Bailey's Poorhouse in downtown Lakewood.
Winter business, snowmobiling is big for us.
We caught up with owner Brian Bailey before he opened Monday.
We need all the businesses to work together, and by doing this and having the snowmobile trails open, we got a lot of people coming up here and spending money. Our locals do the best they can for us, and we appreciate everything they do. Yeah. But it's also the out-of-town money that helps us get a little bit more back to everybody.
And as Rock Weary and Bobby Hansen continue down the trail, they say they know they're helping the area economy.
There's a lot of man time from the local clubs that there's just a lot of hours that they put in. So with we stopping, spending the money, and just a lot of it goes back into the organizations that let us do this.
It definitely like to support the local trail systems and the snowmobile clubs. Yeah. They work hard at what they do here, so we appreciate it and give back to the communities.
So what is causing all this recent severe weather? It's part of a larger system called mid-latitude cyclones. But what does all that mean, that big term? Meteorologist Ryan Mirando explains from Macon, Georgia.
Mid-latitude meaning we're just living in between the tropics to the south and the Arctic to the north, and cyclone just being the name of our system as it moves across the nation. This is all centered around the Big L, our area of low pressure. Think of this as the heart of our storm as it moves across the nation for us. So let's go ahead and put this on the map, where we're still missing a few things. We're missing a warm front that's extending out from the eastern portions of our low, and a cold front as well that's extending out from the south-southwest. Now this area in between the warm and the cold front, that's our warm sector. Think of this like the life support for the heart of our storm that keeps it fueled and keeps it alive as the system moves across the nation for us. Normally during this setup, we see all the snow on the north and northwest portions of the low. We get the line of showers and thunderstorms that's out front of the cold front that brings the south and the southeast the severe weather. There's also some rain and moisture associated with the warm front, but it's generally not as potent or as strong as those storms that are out ahead of the cold front. So moving this across the nation right now, the cold front actually moves faster than the warm front and begins to catch up. This means the system is occluding. That really means, though, that the system is zipping up like a jacket as the fronts begin to meet. But now, since we have that purple occluded front out there, the heart of our storm, the low pressure, is now disconnected from the lifeline, the warm sector, and suddenly the system begins to weaken and die over the next coming hours.
And some parts of the South are preparing for severe weather today, while others are still recovering from the last set of storms. One such twister hit Cook County, Georgia on Sunday. Sade Ray has that story.
County Fire Chief Johnny West explains the damage he saw after the storm.
And hit a couple of buildings on Highway 41, and then come through the Kent-Tobda subdivision where we're at now. We've got about 20 different homes that have got minor damage to them. Like these around us that's got trees on them and things like that.
Chief West tells me the Kent-Thomas subdivision was impassable directly after the storm. The cleanup volunteers have been out as early as 8 a.m. working on damaged areas around ADEL. West says the tornado lifted and went to Massey Point Road, where minor damage was reported. ADEL resident Wade Kett described when the tornado reached the area, Massey Point Road.
The air pressure just dropped, and then it started hitting the house and rushed her into the middle bathroom of the house. Came back out, and literally within 20 seconds, it had come through here and was gone. It was that fast.
Despite the recent storm system and the one moving across the country right now, the eastern United States has really had a pretty mild winter. And if you're puzzled about why that might be, meteorologist Brandon Stover has answers.
Where's the snow? That's the main question snow lovers have been asking much of this winter across the eastern United States. It's been active, just hasn't been cold enough. There's one big reason why that's the case. It really comes down to the storm track. Namely, where exactly are these low pressures tracking along? Now, why is that significant? Well, in the northern hemisphere, you get counterclockwise flow around these low pressure systems. So that means if you're east of these lows, you're naturally going to have a south wind, and that means warmer conditions. If you're on the west side of these lows, you're going to have more of a northerly wind, and that means cold conditions. Can you guess which side most of us across the east have been on this winter? You guessed right, on the eastern side. So that naturally draws up the warmer air, and that means more rain than snow so far this winter.
Now let's check to see the weather in cities across the country. A look here at Cincinnati, Ohio, where skies are partly cloudy with a high of 43 degrees. There's a winter storm warning still in effect, and evening rain is expected to turn into snow. And here in Washington, D.C. area, there's a mix of sun and clouds with a high just below 50 degrees. And now let's take a look at Dalton, Georgia, where skies are sunny. A few afternoon clouds you can see there are expected with highs in the mid-50s. And finally, we're going to end things right here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where they have a ton of sun and beach. The high today is in the mid-50s. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, a fun history lesson, the evolution of meteorology, and it started a very long time ago. And we'll tell you how goats give Christmas trees a second chance.
Meteorologist Charlie Lopresti would look at the Northeast. We'll get a break from storm systems in the Northeast for today and tomorrow. Temps today upper 30s and low 40s will do it. Next storm system gets going for Wednesday late in the day. That's about 4 p.m. We're introducing some snow in New York and parts of southern New England. I think we'll get a change over to rain in the Northeast, though. First, a wintry mix, sleet and freezing rain, and rain by Thursday morning. That's about 7 a.m. The back edge moves out around midday Thursday. Sunshine returns Friday.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. 20s and 30s to start. Lots of sunshine during the day on Tuesday. Good-looking day with high temperatures close to seasonable in the 40s to right around 50 degrees during the afternoon. And that's ahead of our next weather maker. Fair weather, high pressure, and good control for the day today. So a lot of sunshine. But you see that system just beginning to peek out towards St. Louis. That will be ours as we head into midweek. Going to get wet and potentially wintry, too.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your highs for today in the mid-50s from Raleigh over to Nashville. Mobile about 63 degrees. Pensacola 62s. In the 70s down in Florida. Big weather system's going to be pushing through as we go through the day. It looks like nice clear conditions with high pressure. But here comes this massive system that's going to be cold on the northern side of it. Dropping snow across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and then into New England. But there could be severe storms from Louisiana over parts of Mississippi and Alabama as we go through the evening tonight.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Welcome back, everyone. The science of meteorology is old. I mean, really old. In fact, many credit Aristotle as the father of meteorology. Emily Gracie spoke to a science historian to find out the roots of meteorology and how it has evolved over the years.
Well, of course, at the time of Aristotle, meteorology was a sort of an all-term catch-all for earth science. So Aristotle was not a person who did experiments, but he was a person who observed. And of course, if you're looking at ships that are sailing, which they were certainly around Athens on the water, then winds become important, for instance, right? So there was considerable interest in how the atmosphere worked and what that meant for being able to grow crops or sail vessels or those kinds of things. So you do see that early interest in what was going on around in the atmosphere, but it certainly wasn't a situation where people were making daily or hourly recordings and had any kind of scales to work with. So it was very qualitative.
And he came up with the term meteorology?
Right. Well, because it was, and then like I said, it wasn't just focused on the atmosphere at that point. I mean, it included earthquakes and volcanoes and everything else that was kind of earth sciencey at the time.
How did meteorology evolve from that point?
Well, it didn't evolve really fast. Let's put it that way. So we don't see the ability to take measurements of any kind until much later. And so it takes several centuries before we have the equipment to be able to do quantitative measurements. But earlier than that, in the time of Francis Bacon, for instance, he's encouraging people to make note of the kinds of weather events that they see. And so you have people in diaries recording, we had rain, it was windy, it was blowing from this direction, it was a cloudy day, it was an okay day. Over time, we have more physics that's involved, but we don't really see physics involved in meteorology on a scientific level until early part of the 20th century.
And head over to YouTube for a much longer version of this interview. Dr. Harper spoke about the role you may play in the future of meteorology. Search the National Weather Desk. And remember to subscribe while you are there. Another term we hear by meteorologists is the Richter scale. The magnitude of earthquakes is measured on the Richter scale, which was invented in 1935 by Charles Richter. The scale ranges from 1 to 10. Meteorologist Violet Skybor says quakes that measure 1 or 2 on the scale are very light, rarely felt, and don't cause damage. 2s and 3s can be felt, but not much damage, but our senses catch on from there. So can the toll on property and lives once we get above a certain level.
Category 4 is light shaking, noticeable, about 10,000 per year, and the energy equivalent is 33,000 pounds of explosives. Now going up to 5, that's when we get some moderate shaking with some property damage, about 1,500 per year, and the energy equivalent is about 1,000,000 pounds of explosives. That is impressive. Going up, 6 has strong shaking with property damage likely, only about 120 per year, so looking more rare. Energy equivalent of about 33 million pounds of explosives. And it gets even greater. 7, we get major shaking with billions of dollars in damage, even some loss of life. But we only see about 18 of these per year. The energy equivalent, about 1 billion pounds of explosives. And it gets more rare the further you go up. 8 has great shaking, severe damage, and definitely loss of life. Only about 1 per year, though. The energy equivalent, 33 billions of explosives. And 9, great shaking as well, and near total destruction where this can occur, but only about 1 in every 10 years. It is incredibly rare, and the highest ever recorded was a 9.5, even though the scale goes up to 10. The energy equivalent of this is 1 trillion pounds of explosives. So you can see how deadly, depending on the scale, how deadly these earthquakes can be.
Christmas long gone, but decorations are being tucked away for next season. But there's new life for real Christmas trees that are still going around. It has to do with these goats. Megan Dehaney has a story just south of Asheville, North Carolina.
This year is our first year having multiple goats.
14 goats, to be exact. Lily Crowfoot is a foster coordinator for Esther Neonatal Kitten Alliance, but she has a big heart for all animals.
The little white one was born premature, so she was very tiny and couldn't stand a drink from her mama. So we went and picked her up and bottle fed her, and she had a sister, so she came with us.
When their first goat, Bonnie, began nibbling on the family tree last Christmas, Lily learned they are a good high-calorie snack for goats with little available grass in the winter months, and they're a natural dewormer. So this year,
I made a post on a Hendersonville group, and there was like 50 comments, I think, of trees. And they have eaten every single tree we've had.
Does it matter if they're all dried up?
Nope. Nothing. They'll eat them dry, fresh, anything.
Thank you, Kathy.
Horseshoe business owner Kathy Briggs heard about Lily and her goats and jumped at the chance to help.
Briggs Garden Center donated, I want to say, 20 trees last week, and I think she has about 10 more this week. You can see like where they've already nibbled, and we just put these in. We just took some down to the creek in the burn pile, and they were literally like emptied. Like they even eat the bark off of them.
They eat the bark too?
Yes, yeah.
Lily loves being around her goats, and her goats love to recycle those trees.
Yummy Christmas trees, yummy Christmas trees.
And speaking of Christmas trees, check this out. This photo was sent to us via Chime In from a viewer in Bristol, Virginia. The mountainous region recently saw some snow, and the viewer felt that the red cardinals look like ornaments in the snow-covered tree. If you have a photo you want to share with us, visit the station's website, or if you post it on Twitter or Instagram, use the hashtag #WowWeather. Well, Christmas is long gone, and as we head to the end of January, you may have noticed the days are starting to get a little bit longer. But how much sun have we actually added since the December solstice? To find out, let's check a recent post from meteorologist Natalie Walters.
January may be a cloudy and cold month, but the days are getting longer. Since the winter solstice on December 21st, we are gaining daylight every single day. By the end of January, cities like Seattle will have gained about an hour of daylight. If you're in St. Louis or Salt Lake City, you're going to be gaining about 40 minutes. You'll gain about 30 minutes if you're in Dallas or Atlanta, and if you're in Florida, you'll gain about 20 minutes by the end of the month.
And now it's time to head into the sky. Today we are taking a trip over Platte River in Nebraska.
Well, good Tuesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Taking a look at your weather story across the Midwest for the day today. Starting to get into some wintry mixed showers moving into the south later, but otherwise, most of the Midwest is pretty quiet for the day today. Got a lot of accumulating snow heading into southern Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio for the day tomorrow, including a wintry mix as well for the southern areas there. And by the time we get into your Thursday, some light snow showers across a lot of the Great Lakes and Upper Plains.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. Things are starting off a little chilly this morning, and a little bit of some snowfall back from Amarillo all the way down into San Antonio, where we're looking at a shot of some rain and some storms coming through today. An upper level system will push through, bringing snow and freezing rain up to the north, storms and rain down to the south, particularly along the Texas coast, and then very windy conditions for the rest of the day.
Well, hi there and a happy Tuesday morning to everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Fairly quiet weather out west these days. California, the Golden State, noticeably quieting down after seeing such a rough December and early January. The rain giving it up and temps back into the 60s around the coast in LA and San Diego. Certainly chilly in Jackson Hole with a few snow flurries pushing into the Intermountain West. Otherwise, even mainly dry in the Pacific Northwest today as well. And that's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Conditions in some areas seemed more in line with January weather. This video taken at Backbone Rock in Tennessee Monday. Meteorologist Dave Dirks says temperatures were roughly 20 degrees colder than they were Sunday, with some snowfall. Meanwhile, some things are too cute but don't get too close. This porcupine snacking atop a tree in Colorado, and this vista from White Top Mountain in Virginia.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Now let's take a look at some of the images that you at home have sent to us. We'll start with this recent snapshot of a sunrise over Spa Creek in Maryland, a stunning photo that also captures what it takes to get these types of great shots. Beautiful. And this cardinal totally photobombed this Carolina wren. The photographer was trying to get a snapshot of the wren, but the cardinal, as you can see, wanted some attention as well. And this great shot of the sunset yesterday near Green Bay, Wisconsin. Beautiful. We'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Just search the National Weather Desk. You can also scan the QR code on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. We will be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll find out when it's time to start thinking about putting those potted plants back outdoors. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Tuesday, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.